Welcome, everybody, to the Breakthrough Moment podcast. Today's special guest is Andrew Rowe. Thank you for joining today, mate.
Absolute pleasure.
I'm really excited for this. Today's interview, everybody, is all around the startup journey, launching your first business, and also around acquiring your first customers. And so for those of you who don't know Andrew Rowe, he's the founder of Tuesday Seller Co. It's an e-com store. It's actually a first of its kind that helps customers create a wine selection or collection through an online subscription. Just doesn't need to be delivered to their home, which is really cool. And then also you guys have a community and a cultural element to it as well, which is great to see. It's just a lot of these startups, businesses out there really bringing customers as close to the corporate as possible. So without further ado, mate, we'd love to know your breakthrough moment. There's so many businesses out there who are launching or going through this startup journey, and we'd love to know what your breakthrough moment is.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, thanks for the introduction. And like I said, man, super happy to be here and hopefully share a couple of pearls of wisdom or some motivation to anyone going on the same journey. So yeah, breakthrough moments. I think breakthrough moments is a big topic, and I think it's also what probably holds some wannabe founders back because they're looking for that big spark. For me, there wasn't one moment. It was a series of moments. There was me in my everyday life trying to find a product that then didn't exist, and so that always sat in the back of my head. There was a moment where I finally took the plunge and said, "Hang on, this little thought in the back of my head. I've been working for someone else. Why don't I do this myself? Work for myself?" And that little thought that stayed in my head for well over 12 months and didn't go away. It was, okay, let's do it. I think that breakthrough moment came when I was looking for another job. Actually, I was looking to transition and I just couldn't see myself in a job. There was no job that I could see that resonated. And it was like, okay, I need to do my own thing. And then the final breakthrough moment was figuring out we're a B2C market, we're a B2C business, and that's a really hard way to start because it's really heavy on marketing spend. So a big breakthrough moment on viability was figuring out a quick cash flow where we decided to sell in the B2B market to get some revenue. So we started selling gifts, wine gifts to real estate agents. And it was, yeah. So there's kind of three, one being, you know what, the breakthrough of finding what product we wanted to sell or what service we wanted to sell. Second one, going a mental breakthrough of going, yeah, I can do this. And then the third one of more of viability of being able to make it happen. So yeah, there was probably three that then together made our business a reality.
This is great. This is so relevant for so many people out there. So in terms of the finding the product, did you go through a bunch of different products? What actually allowed you to stumble across this one and go, oh yeah, we're going to decide to use or go with this product?
Yeah, there was so it originally happened to give I wanted to give a wedding gift to my cousin, and I wanted to, what I'm calling now, create a salad moment where we give a gift. I wanted to give a gift to my cousin and say, right, I put 6 bottles of wine in a cellar and it's put away for you. And let's say any anniversary, any special moment you want to celebrate your wedding, you can pull that bottle of wine and have a drink with your partner or with a friend or maybe even with me if you invite me over, hopefully. And it's a way to reminisce. It's a tangible product that you can tie to a special moment, in this case being the wedding. I couldn't find anywhere that existed. And so that sat with me, and I went on the journey and I started talking to a lot of people. And we came to a point where there's so many people that wanted to start a wine collection, didn't know how, and wanted guidance. So it was not just that gift side, but hang on, once I have my cellar, how do I build on it? And some people don't have, I think anyone that drinks wine has probably come victim to, I bought a few bottles and I stashed it in the garage. And that either gets drunk way too quickly or it goes bad because it's, 40 degrees in there or whatever. So there was a willingness to do it, but not the knowledge or the facilities on how to do it. And that's when we said, you know what, we need to be the experts, and we're going to have the gift side, but we're going to have a subscription side as well for people to build their own collections, and we're going to handle the storage for them. So it started as a gift product and then merged into a subscription as well. So it went in a bunch of different directions until we landed on that. But that really came from just talking to as many people as we could.
And what was that period? Was that a year period or 6?
That was the idea sat in my head for about 12 months before I thought, hang on, this would happen. And I occasionally browsed. I looked, this happened when I was living in the UK. So I looked in the UK, there was no one doing it really well. Then I moved to Canada and I thought, oh, let's have a look in Canada and the US, see if anyone's doing it well there. Nobody was doing it. Finally, when I came to Australia and nobody was really doing it here either, I'm like, hang on, somebody has to bring this to market. So it was probably another 6 months after saying, okay, I'm going to truly look into this, that it went from idea in my head to full business plan and a strategy created to roll out.
So good. Well done. This is why I wanted to interview you, because it's like so many people have the idea of this job, hate this job, I should go, I'm making so much money for my boss, I should go and do it for myself, or I've got this idea, I want to get out of the job and create something. And 99% of people still get stuck in that, right? Week after week. So you have made the breakthrough, right? Of breaking out of that, escaping, the matrix, so to speak. And I'd love to know more about that process, on how you went, okay, well, this is what I want to do. What gave you the confidence, so to speak, or the clarity to do it? Do you have a business partner? Did you have, was it there's enough, too much pain associated with staying? What was that?
Yeah, look, you're 100% right. It's one of those almost catch-22s that people find themselves in, of saying, well, I'm in a job and I don't see myself being there, but I need the security of it. And if I stay, then I don't have the time to do the startup. So, and that's when I think talking to people as much as possible. If you've got the idea and you've got something you're passionate about, that's 90% of the hard work done. A lot of people get caught up on what's my idea. I looked in my everyday life, and I found, I tried to buy a gift. There's so many times I speak to people and it comes up in everyday conversation of like, oh, I wish I could do this, or I'm trying to find this product, or wouldn't it be great if this existed? And they're saying it without being aware of what they're saying. And they're actually stumbling across ideas all the time. So I think one thing is being really aware of your surroundings and what you're looking for as a consumer. If you can fill the need of your own self, guaranteed almost there's replications of you around the world of people looking for the same thing. Start small. And like every entrepreneur or startup, we've got this grand idea of where the business can go. I've scaled back my idea so many times. So even now, when I look back, I could have done it even smaller. And that only comes with talking to people. They will tell you, if you speak to people, join communities. I joined some startup communities and spoke to people that have been there before, and they gave me advice of how to get it smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, to the point where, yeah, I can do it as this little side hustle. I can do it as an MVP while keeping my job. And then the breakthrough moment of confidence was when I first went to I had my beta customers of about 20 odd customers to start with. They were my first pilot group. And I launched 3 products to them. And I gave them a small discount, which would essentially give them the cheapest product for free. So they could freeload off me if they wanted to. Overwhelming number of people took the top tier and were willing to pay for the service straight away. And so it's that product market fit, where it's like, great, I've got something. People don't want to just freeload. People actually want to pay, even though I'm giving them an offer to get out of it for free, or to trial my services for free. So once you can get that, you've got an idea that you've got some product market fit, and then it gives you the confidence to say, hey, I can either invest more money or I can invest more time and actually make a go of it.
So good. That's so good. A few questions there. Firstly, you said you started with a lower offer and a premium offer. What was the pricing? How did you price that up?
Super simple. Again, keeping it really, really simple. Subscription offer saying you can either get 1 bottle a month, 2 bottles a month, or 3 bottles a month. And we put them into our cellar. You can access it through your virtual cellar, and whenever you want it, you click the bottle and it gets delivered. So you can keep it in that cellar as long as you want. But we're talking the smallest offering, 1 bottle a month, for $35 a month. And so all my first 20 customers, I gave them a $35 voucher. The top tier of 3 bottles a month is $100 a month. And what we found is most people used that $35 against the $100 and ended up paying, 60, still wanted to pay $65 a month to get 3 bottles. And we offered that for 6 months. And then a lot of them continued on at full fee paying post that. So yeah, it wasn't a huge offering. And then we scaled out on top of that and added more products and more services and things like that. But to start with, super simple concept of we're going to build your seller. You just tell us how many bottles you want. Yeah.
Simple. I like it. That's awesome. And you mentioned that you said you started with like 20 customers. So how did you find and acquire those first customers?
Look at your network. I mean, people. I mean, for me, it's wine. I know the people in my network that like to drink wine. I went to startup communities. Startups like to support other startups. It's the reason we're here today. I think people in business support each other, and go to people that you think can provide valuable input. People that aren't scared of saying, "Hey, this sucks," or "No, this is great," or "Hey, tweak this." So yeah, I went to startup communities that I knew that had people that had built startups before and said, "Hey, come on board, trial my service." I went to friends and family and said, "Hey, who do you know that love wine?" And most people know one person, and it's not hard to build up 20 people, especially if you're offering a discount or offering a free service or something. Yeah.
There you go. Don't be afraid of just calling your mates and friends and social media network and getting out there. Hey? And you don't need to start with a lot. So you get 20 people and kind of got the ball rolling. Did that boost your confidence a lot in the beginning too? And give you go, "Oh, this is awesome."
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we have a huge element of our business and our mission was kind of bringing people together. Like we see wine as a catalyst of moments. It's not necessarily always about the wine. We're not a pretentious business where we're about, $500 bottles of wine. It's, like I said, it starts at $35 a month, and people just like to have something special and like to collect things. I like to open a bottle of wine, share a moment. And so building a community was huge for us. So we got those 20 customers who some knew each other, some didn't, some were from all walks of life. And we started to bring them together and actually have meetups where we could literally just get together. Some people would come and say, "Oh, I'm having dry July. Can I just come and have a glass of water?" Yeah, 100%. It's not necessarily about drinking wine and learning about wine or anything. It's about the social meetup and using whatever we have, so wine in this case, as a catalyst. So when people started to get together and say, "This is unique, this is awesome," I'm a subscriber for other wine businesses, but we don't get to physically meet up. I guess in a post-COVID world, this was really important to a lot of people, to get back out there and to meet new people or whatever the motivation. And so when people started giving that feedback of saying, this is the reason I'm still here, or this is the reason I'm signing up, and it just comes across as genuine, it's everything. As a founder, you kind of go, right, I'm onto something. I'm finding the threads that I need to follow and hone in on.
Brilliant. This is so relevant. I'd like to know, in the very beginning, you probably had a view on business. Was this your first business, actually, by the way?
So it's my first business, but previously in my career, I've done a number of division startups. So I worked for an overseas company, and I started up their division in Australia. I've started up businesses for other people in the UK. So I've done stuff, but easily using someone else's money and getting paid a wage and being very secure but it was that drove me to, when I started looking at other jobs, I just couldn't see it. I love that startup world and I needed to take what I learned from that and do it myself.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. My question there is what was your view on business then, your mindset on business specifically before you started your own? How's your mindset around business now? What's the feel, or how do you perceive business differently that you're in the ring?
It's just always easier when you're an employee. It's just so much easier. You don't know. And this is coming from a guy who's literally, built full divisions, from finding the real estate building the operations, employing the team, being employee number one, doing all the regulatory or industry research and starting from the ground up. It never quite prepares you for doing it yourself, but it's fun. It can be fun if you have the right mentality. It's brutally hard. There's so many things you don't think of, and things every week. It's like, geez, I didn't even see that coming, and you just adapt. But there's so many different ways to do business. There's no right or wrong. And I think some people can get caught up on that. And reading books, listening to things, getting advice is like, you've got to pick your path and be true to that. I was speaking to another founder recently that just started their first business, and they're just so lost at the moment because they're taking everyone's ways and then trying to implement their way rather than finding their own path. I think it's great to talk to people and get advice, but you've got to put that all together and say, right, well, what's going to work for me? I can take a bit of that, and a bit of that, and I'm going to forge my own way and then stay true to it without pivoting too much all the time and going right. Because yeah, the whole term of fail fast, I like to say learn fast. There's no failings really. It's just learnings. So yeah, it's a lot of fun if you have the right mentality. It's a lot of stress. There's no avoiding it, but you learn more than you ever can because you go into strategy and execution mode. I think working previously as an employee, I was very focused on strategy, and now I'm in that dual role of, okay, I've got to do the strategy, do the execution and the operations. So yeah, it's fun for sure.
There's no dull moments, is there? There's always something to do. This is really interesting. I'd like to know, do you have any advice for any other entrepreneurs who might be seeking out through business?
Yeah, like I said before. Yeah, like I said before, I think you have to. It depends what stage you're at, but if you're at the breakthrough moment or looking for the breakthrough moment of where do I start, it's looking in your everyday life and looking for what you're passionate about, what you're seeking as a customer. For me, I remember sitting down and saying, well, okay, let's really drill down into my passions. And I had sport, food and wine, and travel. And they were three areas that I love doing. And I could, that whole concept of, if you love what you're doing, you're not going to work a day in your life. So that was the goal. And I ended up with wine. But yeah, look in your everyday life. I think if you're a bit more progressed and you're sitting and you've got your idea and you're figuring out how to get to that launch moment, or how do I commit, or how do I have the confidence, join communities. You have to talk to people. Don't be the person that keeps your idea a secret. If anyone tells you, guard your idea because somebody else is going to take it, don't listen to them. Talk, get it out there. Speak to as many people as you want or as you can. Speak to people that have been there before you. Speak to people in that industry. They won't take your idea, or 99% of the time, they won't take your idea. It can happen, but you've got way more to gain by talking to people, and they will give you that breakthrough moment. If you're open to it, talking and getting out there and joining things and letting your idea out into the world, you'll have that moment, because keeping it inside you, it'll be locked in a cage forever. There's no possibility. Like breakthrough moments, I think, come to us rather than trying to, sit down in a room or lie in bed at night and going, what's my next breakthrough? It'll come if you follow the steps of, just putting yourself out there.
Great advice, for sure. Nothing's going to happen if we're sitting on the couch all day, right? 100%. And behind the keyboard, just like, I wish it's going to happen. You got to get out there. So
yeah,
well said. In terms of predictions, we've got AI, the future of the industry, and e-com. Where do you think this industry is going?
Yeah, it's huge. Look, AI's obviously a huge area. I think it is going. It's obviously here to stay. It will be involved in every area of the business. It'll get smarter. It'll get easier to use. It'll become more accessible. I think you have to be very careful. I said before, one of our missions is creating a community and creating human connection. And I never want to move too far away from that. I think people will always know and value good service, good customer interactions, meaningful connections and things like that. But there is certainly an area for AI to make things faster and make things streamlined and play an element of service. And for our industry, for alcohol, it's a really interesting time. Australians are actually drinking less, and this has been pushed back on me. It's like, why are you launching a wine business when people are drinking less and there's a big movement towards zero alcohol? I'm actually excited by that, which is weird. So I think people are drinking less, and the zero alcohol is here to stay. But I think it'll be the mainstream brands that take over the zero alcohol rather than boutique specific brands that launch no alcohol. So I think it'll be your, Heineken 0.0 or your Guinness 0.0 or your Penfolds, 0.1 or whatever. It'll be these big brands that leverage their marketing and their brands. But I think as customers are drinking less, they are still drinking. And what we're noticing is when they do decide to drink, they want it to be a nice wine or a nice moment or a special, memorable moment. So this is where we come in and say, wouldn't you love to have, okay, you've got a 40th coming up, or you've got friends coming over for a dinner party this weekend, pull your wine from your cellar that we've told you the story on, you've aged it yourself, you've gone on that journey, it's your special collection that you can kind of share a moment, open the wine, tell your friends about it. And I think there's something special that we always notice where somebody pulls out a wine that everyone in the room knows is a little bit special, and everyone goes a bit silent when you open it. Nobody's like, what are you waiting for? But you're waiting for a moment. You're just sharing a moment. Everyone's going silent, going, okay, you hear that first pop, and it's like, or the first sip, and you want to hear the story behind it. It's like, tell me about this wine. Yeah, the cheers of the glass. So we want to create that. It's not about, here, have a case of wine every week or every month. We're just going to load you up. We're kind of tapping onto that industry trend to say, yeah, when you are going to drink, have a moment, share a moment, become part of our community, learn about what you're drinking, be a bit more engaged. So yeah, I think there's a lot of changes in the alcohol industry. There's a lot of changes in the e-com tech industry, but yeah, I feel confident where we're positioned.
That's interesting. That's so important. The moments, that's what it's all about.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's these little moments of life, and capturing them in alcohol or non-alcohol, and people bringing that together is so important. I think now more than ever, with the world being so spread out and it's busy, and just bringing people together for those magic moments. So that's good. What would be the final message or final maybe a little challenge that you'd like to give to the listeners of today?
Oh, look, it's got to be along the same of what I've been saying. Like, I challenge everyone to go out and find a group to join. I found 2 or 3. I wouldn't be here today without joining some of those groups. They've been anything from customers now to mentors to just soundboards of venting, and emotional support when things are challenging. You can't do it yourself. I'm a solo founder, and as much as I am solo, I found my network that I could rely on and talk to, because you need that. You need the advice. Nobody knows everything. So I challenge everyone that's going on this journey to make sure you've got that support, to go out and tell your idea to at least 5 other people over the next month and get the feedback. And I guess get off the couch, make it happen. Because I've got 2 kids under 6, and so I'm also, a stay-at-home dad, as much as doing, I was working another job. I do some consulting, and I run Tuesday Celico. So you got to fit it in somehow. You find a way. It is about balance. But talking to people helps, and you see how other people balance, you see how other people do it. And if you're motivated enough, and if you believe in your idea enough, and believing in your idea, again, it goes full circle. Talking to people, them telling you what's wrong and what's right about your idea, instills more confidence and more growth, and you see the pathway. It's small steps, small steps, small steps. Yeah,
Definitely. I recommend it. How can people get in touch with you? And are there any promotions at the moment? What can people expect from?
Yeah, good question. Look, Tuesday Celico, obviously, tuesdaycelico.com is the website. If you've ever wanted to start a wine collection, but you don't know where to start, we can help you build one for us. So we curate, we store, you manage, we deliver. Big promotion at the moment is Father's Day's coming up this weekend. And, for any moment It probably won't be when this goes live, but for any moment, whether it be a wedding, Father's Day, Mother's Day, we're offering often running specials and promotions on, like I said, bringing people together. So I know I'm gifting my dad 6 bottles of Shiraz, and it's going in the cellar because my dad loves a really nice Shiraz. And so every year on Father's Day, we're going to pull 1 bottle and share a moment of seeing how that wine evolves over that time. And it's really just, it's now carved out something that we set aside every year. So it's not, what are we going to do this Father's Day? What are we going to, how are we going to catch up? It's now set in stone. We're catching up every year and having a bottle of wine and just sharing a moment. And it's, we're either going to probably start talking about the wine, but who knows where it'll end up. It just creates that nice flow of conversation. So yeah, any gifts, you can follow us on socials, just, Tuesday Seller Co. But yeah, check us out if you ever wanted to build a collection but didn't know how.
Any moment you guys want to celebrate with your loved ones, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas, Easter, people's birthdays, what are all the celebrations? Have a think about what are those magic moments and reach out to Tuesday Seller Co. This is awesome. Thank you so much, Andrew.
Create your intelligent.
Yeah, exactly. I look forward to coming to some of these meetups, actually. How do I get involved with them?
Yeah. So sign up to our newsletter, essentially. And from that, we're inviting everyone. So we're trying to be as inclusive as possible. And so we're not even restricting it really to our customers. Anyone that's interested, the quickest way is to sign up to our newsletter on the website. Shoot us a DM if you want to. If you don't want to sign up to the newsletter, we'll get you involved somehow. And yeah, we're often putting on events. We've done picnics in the park. We've done Tuesday after work drinks. We've done wine tasting. We've got a sommelier that comes along and does this really fun kind of wine tasting. Every couple of months we're putting something on, and it's always changing.
So good. Cheers, mate. Thanks for your time. Some pearls of wisdom today. So anyone at home who wants to recommend this to someone who's going through the startup journey, finding their first customers, or looking for that launch, or getting out of their job so they can start that side hustle or business, definitely recommend this, like, share.